I'm going to say something on this show that I'm not sure I've heard anyone say before. I was wrong. When Donald Trump won, I thought that 75, 80 million Americans were all captured by the MAGA cult and that they would go along with whatever President Trump said.
In this CNN clip, Scott Jennings once again finds himself surrounded by a panel of delusional leftists. One of them, let's call him Cowboy Bob, actually gives a surprisingly accurate description of MAGA voters. But don't worry, he ruins it with a last-minute twist of progressive nonsense. Let's break down this moment as Scott Jennings roasts the left yet again.
And I was wrong. There are a lot of people who voted very purely and clearly on the fact that they were experiencing economic distress and they wanted that economic distress to come to an end. I'm hearing from these people. I'm hearing from brothers who believed not in all of the social things or the rhetoric or the religious part of who Donald Trump is, but in the actuality, in their minds, that Donald Trump was a whiz businessman that was going to fix the American economy. They're confused. They don't know what's going on. They did not vote for harder times. And the reality is, as much spin as can be done on any network, it is going to be, in my opinion, irreparable harm done to the president's reputation if people experience a tremendous amount of pain, even in the short term from the tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, a tremendous amount of harm done to his reputation, but also I just want to, I need to correct the record because I feel like I hear a lot of conservatives talking about, oh, the last time when Trump was in office, he put in those tariffs and everything was fine. Okay, here is JP Morgan talking about what happened the last time when he put in those tariffs. Steel tariffs created about 1,000 jobs for steelmakers who were protected by tariffs. They reduced employment by 75,000 in steel-using industries such as autos and construction as prices rose and sales fell. Similarly, in all industries affected by Trump's tariffs, duties boosted factory employment by 0.4%, but reduced payrolls by 2% because of overall costs rising and retaliatory
By the way,
tariffs. It costs jobs to raise prices.
By the way, there's something else to pay attention to when you're looking at the job creation from the tariffs in the first Trump administration, the price per job. When you look at some of the jobs that were created, you're paying, in one case, like $815,000 per job for the jobs that were created because of the costs that are offset by the tariffs themselves. So it's not a great way of job creation. It's very costly to the American public to do it that way.
You know what's sad about this is 90,000 factories did shut down in America since 2000. And Trump said, there's a hole in the ship. And that's one of the reasons he won. And to Van's point, people thought he's a business guy, he's gonna fix this, and he's gonna disappoint those towns. He's going to disappoint those people who've been betrayed for the last 40 years because this isn't gonna help improve their lives. And there's gonna be more disillusionment in this country and more anger that their lives aren't changing. And that to me is the saddest part of all of this.
And here's where the left goes into full fear-mongering mode, trying to scare average Americans by claiming Trump's tariffs will destroy jobs, wreck the economy, and leave everyone disappointed. But let's be honest, that's not an analysis, that's just narrative. They never tell the full story. Trump's tariffs aren't meant to be permanent. They're a negotiating tool. The goal is to pressure foreign countries to come to the table and level the playing field on trade. Once that happens, American goods become more affordable overseas, which means more global demand for U.S. products. More demand equals more jobs, plain and simple. And let's not forget Trump's corporate tax cuts. That money didn't just disappear. It was reinvested. Companies built factories. They expanded. They hired. That's how you rebuild an economy. Anyone paying attention can see the left's fear tactics for what they are, pure propaganda, designed to distract and mislead. But the informed voter, we know better.
Scott?
Well, I think what is true today was true for Joe Biden and every other president that came before either of these two guys. If people feel like their economic trajectory is on the upswing, they will give you political leash. And if they feel like their own trajectory is on the downswing, they will punish you. You go back to Ronald Reagan, and he even though there were hard times in that first Reagan term, people felt like the country was getting back on the right track. They were willing to give him time because they believed in his program. They believed in the confidence that Reagan was projecting about America. That's what Trump has to do here. To the people that you think are going to be impacted in the short term, and they may well be, and Trump has acknowledged that, he has to make them believe that the long-term implications for this and their communities is worth it, even if they're experiencing a little short-term pain. So the political implication, Abby, I think, all goes on to the trajectory. Do you feel like things will go better in the future? And that is the salesman's challenge.
It also has to be true, because at the end of the day, if people start losing their jobs, which some of them will, this is going to end badly for Trump. Rhetoric is not going to do anything about that. I just want to play what one car dealer said earlier this morning, just about what's ahead for his business, pretty much immediately.
The cost is going to get passed to the consumer. There's no doubt about that. There's nothing we can do about that. I can't eat the cost. No matter what, all of us are going to sell less cars. And then we have to make the hard decisions. So that's laying people off. That's cutting vendors out. That's reducing our inventories and not ordering as many cars. All these things, to me, are negative impacts to the economy.
But I think he's got to get some deals in the short term, right? He's got to get some wins early, start equaling out these with our trading partners. If he gets those early wins and people start to see progress, he will continue to have that leash.
You know what's interesting? We're having a lot of conversations about President Trump and his political future and what it means for him to lose people. What we're not talking about, at least in a robust way, are the actual American people. The people who are being asked right now to sacrifice, to pay higher prices, to potentially lose their jobs for an economic future that they can't see and that there's absolutely zero clarity on. That you don't know why the tariffs are really there. You get 4 or 5 different answers as to why they're there. You don't know how they're going to benefit, but you're expected to lose your job, pay higher prices, not buy a car, do all of this stuff for what?
I think that the choices facing the administration are tough, but one of them is just to change course.
I honestly can't believe the smug dishonesty on that panel. They sit there with straight faces and spew lies, pretending there's confusion about why Trump is raising tariffs. There's no confusion. It's crystal clear. He's doing exactly what other countries do to us, using tariffs to protect national interest and bring others to the negotiating table. The only people confused are the ones watching CNN and swallowing this garbage whole. If you're sick of the left's lies, the fear-mongering, and the endless propaganda, hit that subscribe button. This channel breaks through the noise. No spin, just facts.